And welcome back to Bleacher Brawls, the home of the greatest rivalry in professional sports. I'm picking my eyeball because my eyes are killing me today because I have to look at these jamokes. If you're watching us on YouTube, I got to look at Luke. I got to look at Pat with his insulting background. I got to look at John. You know, he's no Gene Gray, but he's pretty good looking himself. We got an action-packed show for you today. We're going to go first pitch. We got some stuff about Marathon Monday. We want to talk a little bit about Jackie Robinson Day. Domingo's sticky stuff. We got a new segment today called Trending or Ending, and then we're going to finish it up with Cuddle Marry Trash, which you guys are very familiar with if you've been listening to the show long enough. But let's go round with the guys. Let's hear everyone's first pitch. Patrick, let's start with you.
Thanks, Barnes. I wanted to start tonight by calling you out because in the agenda you just ran down, you put the Domingo's sticky stuff third. Okay, you're burying the lead. The Yankees got caught cheating yesterday. They got away with it, and you're trying to start with Boston Marathon. You're trying to start with Jackie Robinson, trying to do all the nice sentimental stuff, right? So we're not all riled up by the time we get to Domingo. We kind of let it go. No, I am not letting it go. This is the most important part of tonight's episode, and it's happening halfway through.
It's the most important part of the episode. That's why I batted third in the lineup where you put your best hitters, right, Luke?
Yeah.
That's right. Hey, that's how I build a lineup. That's the proper way to build.
Yeah, so you lineups of 5 things.
Hey, listen, you save the media stuff for right in the middle. All right, if you want to get your little quick hitter out of here,
whatever you want to call it.
Sure. We know my episodes run great. Luke, what's up with you?
I had an awesome weekend. I actually attended 2 really cool concerts this weekend. 2 brilliant performances. I got refamiliarized myself with the Wu-Chang Clan, and I rediscovered that the Wu-Chang Clan is indeed oh geez, how's it go? That the Wu-Chang Clan ain't nothing to fuss with. And then today I went to a matinee concert. I saw a really kind of an older act, but Justin Turner Overdrive really had a really good performance today. So 2 very diverse kind of concerts to attend back to back. But they were both, neither of them are in their prime right now, but they can still get it done, and led the Red Sox to 3 straight wins over Anaheim, and going for the clean sweep against Shohei Ohtani tomorrow morning, where Brayan Bello is going to match up against Shohei Ohtani. So it's going to be an interesting game. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning Central Time. So I'm looking forward to that.
So yeah, if you're a Red Sox fan, if you're a baseball fan in general, you'll probably be keeping an eye out on that game. I know I will be at work because, well, baseball overrides work. Sorry, boss man, if you're listening, but I will be having that game on in the background. John, first pitch, let me have it.
Yes, I am also the type of guy that keeps it on in the background, and my boss fortunately does that with soccer, so I don't really feel like he can say anything to me. Good weekend all around. We have a Voodoo Donuts here in San Antonio that I took my daughters to. It was definitely a good Saturday night. Anyone who hasn't had Voodoo Donuts, if you're close to one, I definitely suggest trying it out. And then, yeah, we had a great weekend with the Yankees. Apparently, the Yankees not cheating is a big issue. I don't know. I guess, we'll get into that more later. But all in all, good weekend.
The Yankees not cheating would be a headline.
That's why it's buried in the agenda for today. So I know for me, not to toot my own horn, I had a pretty good weekend. Yeah, nothing super special, nothing super great, nothing super grand. It was pretty even keel here at the Barnes household. Coached a track meet over the weekend. A bunch of my athletes did really great. Which will I'll mention a little bit in the Jackie Robinson section, which is kind of odd. But also, speaking of track meets, tomorrow, or the day you're listening to this, is Marathon Monday. The Boston Marathon takes place when you're listening to this episode. Also, with that early Boston game, I know Luke's going to be going to that 3rd concert right in a row coming off the weekend. Except it's going to be early in the morning. I don't know who he's going to see in the morning, but some young star, young up and comer, Rain Bayo is going to take on Otani, as he said. But first things first, I'm going to let the Boston guys handle this. And let me ask you guys real quick: what does the Boston Marathon really mean to that city? I know it's kind of like its own mini holiday, but if you guys could elaborate a little bit more on that, Patrick, I'll let you start it off.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a big deal for a long time, up until 10 years ago. But this year is the 10th anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombing. And as it connects to our show, the 10th anniversary of the 2013 Red Sox team that won the World Series, the Boston Strong team. And, they've been celebrating those guys over the weekend. And unfortunately, LA can't just let us have one tomorrow. They're going to whoop us, I think. But it's 10 years seems like a long time. Also seems like yesterday. I hate to use this time for a shameless plug, but the day you're listening to this, I have a piece coming out on bleacherbrawls.com talking about the unlikeliness of that team to go on and win. It's a team that finished in last place the year before, finished in last place the next year. But that year of all years pulled it out and I think lifted up the city when they needed something.
Yeah, I was actually just circling through my Netflix, and they actually had there's a Netflix documentary on the Boston Marathon bombing. You should definitely check it out. It's on Netflix. Trigger warnings, obviously, but it's definitely something to watch and get educated on. It's very interesting, especially if you like that type of something to watch. But Luke, more importantly, we've got the Red Sox game. They're the guys who are very unlikely to go on and win it all, as Pat just said. How do you think the Red Sox will fare tomorrow, and how do the Red Sox typically fare on Marathon Monday?
Their all-time record on Patriots Day is 71-54. So they do pretty damn well most of the time. It feels like a big home field advantage that they have every year on Patriots Day because they do play at home every single year. They always play. They play early. They play at 11 o'clock Eastern time so that the game will coincide with the end of as the winners and as the people that aren't as slow are crossing the finish line or finishing the marathon. That's always it's a nice, until 2013 it was always a nice little special time when the Red Sox get to play when nobody else in the league is playing. So that's the whole baseball world spotlight is on them. The Major League Baseball world spotlight is on them. The marathon and the Sox game partnership makes for a nice busy day in the city, lots of call out sick days, lots of day drinking going on. And it was always kind of just it never felt like a holiday to me. It just kind of felt like a senior skip day to me. It's also later in the school year too. And then the bombing happened, and that all of a sudden in 2013 kind of changed Patriots Day to more of a national showcase of Boston sports and a national appreciation for what the city went through during that whole week 10 years ago. I still remember it. It was the craziest week of all time. I didn't have work for a couple days afterwards. The city was literally locked down. You weren't allowed to walk on the streets. You weren't allowed to go to work. It was really something, the way I'd never heard of a city handling the aftermath of a crime in that way. I was really proud of it too, that there was no uproar over it. Nobody was protesting, you can't make me stay home. It was just really felt like a team effort with people sheltering in place just to make sure that we caught these guys. So yeah, it always just feels like the Red Sox have a big advantage playing on Patriots Day. Nobody else is used to playing in the morning like that at any time in the year. We got the marathon, the big, all the big hubbub about that. It's always a fun kind of day. And now it means a lot more, especially this year on the 10-year anniversary. So I expect there to be a big pregame ceremony and a lot of attention paid to that a lot of respect paid to the people who died there, the people who were injured, all the first responders. And I don't expect that the Red Sox will win. I'm hoping Brian Bayo does pretty well, but I expect Ohtani to, shut the Red Sox down almost completely. And I actually watched the first episode of that documentary last night. And from what I saw, it was pretty good. I saw the Mark Wahlberg movie too. I kind of thought that was kind of silly, but this documentary seemed to handle it very well.
I think in terms of tomorrow, every once in a while, Shohei will just crap the bed. Every once in a blue moon, he'll go 4 innings, give up 6 runs, 3 home runs. It just happens semi-regularly, and that's what balloons his ERA. Fingers crossed it's against us.
I think that's a good possibility because historically, Shohei Ohtani does not handle high-pressure situations well. He's avoided Yankee Stadium, and I'm pretty sure the few times he's pitched in Fenway, he's gotten beat up pretty bad. What's his career record in Fenway?
I'd have to check.
I'm telling you, you guys are going to look this up and like, oh, look, but John was right again, as usual.
And it's one of those things while Pat's pulling up those numbers real quick is if you listen to the most recent Red Sox episode, Joey also brings up that point as well. He's like, oh, well, Derek probably has statistics to prove this, but the Red Sox usually hit Ohtani. And I think in that episode, Derek goes on to say, well, the Red Sox don't really fare too well, except who has that one? Isn't there like one hitter who is like
Dahlbeck? I think it was Dahlbeck has
like
one career RBI against him, but everybody
stupid.
else was 0 for the century right after Joey said. I think the Red Sox hit Ohtani pretty well.
So Shohei's made 1 start at Fenway. He went 7 innings, gave up 0 runs and 11 strikeouts.
So no, Joey, the Red Sox did not hit the Red Sox well.
Well, he didn't pitch well at Yankee Stadium, right? Where's that, Pat? I can't.
Let me see.
And-
You got it there. 2 starts for a grand total of 3 2/3 and 11 earned runs.
Okay,
Look at that.
It is a
obviously he's more
27
intimidated by
ERA.
the Yankees than the Red Sox, so you guys were right to laugh at me from your standpoint, but from mine and Barnes's, we know what's up.
Well, he's never played against the Red Sox while David Ortiz has been in attendance and probably dropping an F-bomb on the microphone right before the game starts.
But before we move on to the next subject, Marathon Monday, John, we all know that you are a runner. You go out for runs, whether it's to actually run a marathon one day, whether it's just to keep that dad bod in relatively good shape. Is there any shot that we could see you run a marathon? Not the Boston Marathon, just a marathon.
Absolutely not. I have my cap of how far I'm going to run, and it's not happening. They're not even a half marathon. I'm not considering it. So, yes.
You say John runs or John has the runs?
A little A, a little
Usually
B.
both.
Little column A, little column B. But moving on to the next subject on the agenda is we want to over the weekend. It was Jackie Robinson Day, where the Major League Baseball honors Jackie Robinson. Pat, you also brought this one up, and I want you to take the first crack at it. You were the one who suggested it. It was always going to be on the agenda, but you were pretty steadfast in that. So here you go, Pat. Take it away for Jackie Robinson Day.
Yeah, thanks. So I wanted to actually take a brief second and read from a book. Joe Posnanski's Baseball 100 counts down the greatest 100 baseball players of all time, ranks Jackie, of course, at number 42, and a brief description of why Jackie was so great. Michael Jordan was a great basketball star, the greatest ever. And at age 31, he signed to play minor league baseball, and he hit 202 in the minor leagues. Tim Tebow was a great football star, maybe the greatest college quarterback ever, hit 223 in his minor league career. Jackie Robinson was a great football star, one of the greatest football players in America, also a great basketball star and a great track star. And at age 26, he signed to play minor league baseball. He was an extraordinary athlete. He was a fantastic competitor. He became one of the greatest baseball players who ever lived. There are differences, of course. The biggest difference, I believe, was that Jackie Robinson knew that he could not fail. Jackie was a man of faith. I do not just mean faith in God, though he was a religious man. He also had extraordinary faith in himself and his destiny. He believed deeply that he was the one meant to cross baseball's color line. He believed deeply that God would not have led him down a path only to fail. That faith filled him with something more powerful than confidence. And I wanted to read that because I feel like that is something that is commonly undervalued about Jackie Robinson. Yes, great baseball player, fantastic athlete. But the understanding and awareness that if he blew it for a lot of people. That if he went out there and hit a $170 and couldn't handle the pressure and barked back at the fans who were barking at him, it was over. And so not only to have the awareness and the skills to be a great baseball player, but the awareness and skills to be, I think, a pioneer in the civil rights movement, I think goes unmentioned. Yes, of course, he broke the color barrier, but somebody could have done that and stunk and delayed things for many years, but he didn't. He became one of the best to ever do it, and that's what makes him Jackie Robinson. That's why everybody wears 42 on Jackie Robinson Day.
Thanks, Pat. Yeah, that's definitely a huge testament to who Jackie Robinson was. You know, us four can only speculate as to the type of man he was. And I think that the movie 42 does a pretty darn good job of depicting it for a lot of like younger folks who have only ever heard about Jackie Robinson. Like, hey, you can't bark back. You can't screw it up because you're going to screw it up for a lot of other people. Real quick, we're going to go around the horn. Maybe you have a fond moment of Jackie Robinson Day, maybe whether it be personal, whether it be a player's performance, just something sentimental. But John, I'm going to hand it over to you to start first here on Jackie Robinson Day, maybe one of your favorite moments.
Well, I'm not great at remembering specific days and games like that, so I'll just have to go with today. The Yankees won, so I think that was a pretty good day. All in all, though, yeah, the Jackie Robinson thing's crazy. I've been to the Hall of Fame where you see like the letters on display, and you get a good look at, at least a glimpse of what he went through and what he had to deal with, and just all the respect in the world for this man who really just an American icon.
Luke?
I actually have what came to mind first was actually a bad memory I have associated with Jackie Robinson Day, and it's just it's really stuck in my memory. It was, I don't know how long it was ago, 8 years ago, something like that. But I remember when they first started letting players wear 42. It wasn't the whole team wasn't wearing 42 the way they do now. There was a few African-American players that wore number 42 in honor of Jackie Robinson. And then as the years went by, more and more players did it. And then some white players started doing it too. And then eventually everybody started wearing 42, which I think is great. It's very fitting tribute to a player like that and who was historically important as that. But I remember it was Torrey Hunter. So the first year that some white guys were wearing number 42 on Jackie Robinson Day, and Torrey Hunter publicly, took exception with that, saying that this is a day for African Americans to celebrate, to honor Jackie Robinson, and that was their place to do that, and that white people were, I guess, kind of overstepping by trying to take on that, appropriating Jackie Robinson Day, I guess you could call it. And I kind of took offense to that, just because I just think to be exclusive about paying respect to a guy like Jackie Robinson and what he's meant to Major League Baseball historically, I think is a real bad look. And I just thought that was really completely hypocritical and contrary to what Jackie Robinson stands for and what his memory stands for. So that was the real thing, the first thing that came to my mind. Obviously, nothing really came of that. It was just one guy saying like, "Oh, this should be for us." But Jackie Robinson Day, and Jackie Robinson stands for inclusivity. So there's no reason why anybody of any race should be excluded from being able to wear that 42 and showing respect for him in that way. So that was the first thing that came to my mind when I thought of Jackie Robinson Day and a game or any specific memory of Jackie Robinson Day.
Pat, anything for you?
I think that there's you mentioned 42. 42 is a movie that gets away with a lot of baseball movie cliches because it's the Jackie Robinson movie and you can't critique it too much. Not the best baseball movie of all time. There is a very sentimental moment though, where his first baseman, I think, puts his arm around him and says, one day we'll all wear 42, then they can't tell us apart. And it's really silly and plays kind of goofy in the movie. But I think that there's a sentimentality behind that works really well, especially considering how we celebrate every year. I think about that every year. One hokey screenwriter came up with this line, but there's something behind that. There's some truth behind that, and that always, every time I see everybody wearing that number, it always comes to mind.
There were better players in the Negro Leagues that they could have taken from that. I mean, we've all seen numerous movies about that. They could have gotten Josh Gibson. They could have gotten Satchel Paige. There were other guys who could have, Robinson was more of an all around solid player, but I'm assuming it was that he was articulate and that he was intelligent, and they felt like he could take it. Like they felt like he had the the steely facade where he could take the kind of criticism, the kind of racism that he was going to have to deal with as that person. Without that, he probably wouldn't lash out. He probably wouldn't punch anybody. He probably wouldn't make a scene, and he would probably have to take so much crap for that to bust through the wall like that. And as the guy who plays John Henry in Moneyball said, the first person to break through the wall, I think, always gets bloody. And so he was chosen to be that guy. A lot of it was because, he was a great player, but a lot of it was because they knew he could take that kind of abuse. And Jesus, he did. He ended up being one of the best major league players of all time.
On Jackie Robinson Day, that was the day I was coaching, and we all hop on the bus. And the head coach is a huge baseball fan. I talk about him quite a bit. He's in some of my columns, and I go to Somerset Patriots games with him. He's a great guy. And he starts off, he's like, "Hey, it's Jackie Robinson Day." And Jackie Robinson was a huge integral part about breaking the color barrier, even though he wasn't necessarily the first player to break the color barrier. I think he's definitely the one who gets recognized, but shout out to Moses Fleetwood Walker with the Toledo Blue Stockings. Quick history lesson there. But yeah, Pat, you in that book, he was a great track athlete too. And that's why coach is talking about him. He had a 25-foot long jump, which is, I don't know how it would have placed in that 1940s Olympics, but I imagine 25 feet is pretty good on that old cinder track. But for me, I remember 2010, Robinson Cano hits 2 home runs in a game against the Angels. So, and I remember Mariano Rivera, the only player to wear 42 after it got retired, got a save that same game too. So, and that all happened on Jackie Robinson Day, which was...
Wasn't Cano 24 because he couldn't wear 42?
Yeah, he was 24 because he couldn't wear 42, and also his first name Robinson was named after Jackie Robinson.
Never knew that.
There you go, fun little factoid for the Yankees out there. But speaking of Yankees, I finished here on a Yankees thing, and we buried this one, but I felt like it segued really well. Was Domingo German's sticky stuff, right? If you're watching on YouTube, you can see Patrick's background as he ducks out of the way and kind of blends in. There, you can't really tell which one is Domingo German because they're all wearing 42, and so who knows whose hands were really sticky then. But Rocco Baldelli actually gets ejected from this game because he's arguing with the umps about,
because he's right and they don't like that. Anyway,
okay.
go ahead.
I'll let Patrick just explain it then.
All right, here's what happens. Okay, Domingo German uses legal substances. Okay, no issue with what he has on his hands: rosin, sunscreen, sweat, the things that you are allowed to have. Okay, however, Rocco Baldelli says he's going to his arms a little too much. He's going to his palms a little too much. Check him out. So they check him out. They see that all the substances are legal. However, and this is up to umpire discretion, they say he has too much. They say you've taken it too far. It's in excess. You have to go wash your hands. Okay. This is as he's leaving the field. He comes back in the next inning. He didn't wash his hands. He didn't listen to what the umpires had to say. Baldelli has the umpires come back out again. They say a second time, you really have to wash your hands. And they let him walk to the dugout, wash his hands. Baldelli's pissed, and deservedly so, that they give him a second chance. They are not supposed to give him a second chance. And that's the problem here. So, we can joke about it being cheating all you want. It was absolutely borderline. He was warned that he was on that line and didn't care and did it anyway.
So before we let Luke and John go to war over this, because I know we have a mini brawl brewing for this episode, and I always knew it was going to pan out this way as I'm watching that game and I'm seeing as it starts to unfold a little bit. But it's that whole concept of give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Who's it really on? Is it? Pat said it there. They're all legal substances. He's on the line. You should wash your hands. But is it on the umps? Isn't it on the umps now?
Yeah,
Luke,
that's the problem. I'm sorry. I know you're taking it, Luke. That is the exact problem. The umpires were supposed to toss him the second time because he didn't listen to what you have to listen to the umpires. That's how baseball works. Okay. He didn't do it. He didn't care. And then they give him a second chance. That was Baldelli's issue, that he just got away with it. He just got to pitch again like that, even though he had already been warned.
So Luke, let's hear your side of the story first.
Well, you can't really blame Domingo German. The man is obviously insane. So, the umpires telling him, "Oh, wash your hands." Like, why would you expect him to do it? They probably should have escorted him down there and watched him do it. I didn't watch this. I didn't watch the game, so I didn't see how it really played out. Can someone just answer? So the umps were checking him every inning, and it was, did they stop him first and say you have to, you have too much, or did it start with Baldelli complaining?
He passed his initial check.
Okay, so he was
after that first check. Apparently,
I
clumped
believe
it up too much.
I believe it was after the third inning, like after you finish an inning, they come over, they check your hands, check your glove.
So they always check you in the first, and then they check you some other time after.
Yeah, so they checked him like after the third inning. Baldelli, they tell him to go back. So after the fourth inning, they're like, "Yo, what the heck?" And then that's when Baldelli starts having his little fit, deservedly so, but he starts having his fit.
Okay.
Listen, I'm not gonna blame a man on that Saturday where it's a little bit warm and your undergarments get into a bunch down there. I get it. John, let me hear your thoughts on the Domingo German sticky situation.
I mean, I was watching it too, and I think, let's be honest, from what I saw, yes, they told him to go wash his hands. If it looked like, yeah, maybe he did wash his hands and just put a little more back on. They didn't say he couldn't have it. Just put some more back on. I think Baldelli just wanted to see this guy's hands completely clean. He was pitching a gem, and that's what managers do. They'll be like, okay, I'm going to start messing with this guy because we can't buy a hit off him. It was strikeout. Of course, Baldelli was trying to get in his head. And for the record, Baldelli's from Massachusetts or Rhode Island or something anyway. So we already know the type of person he is. He would stoop to those types of levels. So Domingo German didn't do anything. The umpires checked multiple times. And if there's any issues, that has nothing to do with the Yankees. It has to do with the umpires. And Baldelli just being a masshole, trying to make a scene like, oh, I hate the Yankees, so I need to do something. No, he was allowed to have it on. And if he washed his hands and put a little bit more on, there's nothing wrong with that. And the umpires clearly didn't see anything wrong with that either. Oh, and while we're just on the topic of cheating, since everybody has such an issue with cheating here at this moment, I'd like to remind you guys, a couple weeks ago, Mookie Betts came out and admitted that the Red Sox were doing video room sign stealing in 2018. So you guys, everyone's so concerned about cheating. We never really discussed that on the show, did we? How do you guys feel about Mookie Betts admitting that the Red Sox were cheating in 2018?
Luke, take it away.
Well, they got caught for it already, and they got punished for it already. And the Yankees were found to have done the same thing. So I don't really understand, Pat saying the Yankees cheated. So John's saying, well, the Red Sox cheated a few years ago. Well, yeah, we know, and they got punished for it. And by the way, the Yankees were doing the same thing. And the Yankees were the OG electronic cheaters because they were doing it back in 2014. They were dealt with severely. They had a sternly written letter sent to them, absent any exclamation points, but still, that's how Major League Baseball chose to deal with that. I think if it was just rosin and sunscreen, I don't think it's, I think it's, tough luck, Rocco. It's like he wasn't using spider tack, he wasn't using glue, he wasn't using anything that they're not allowed to use. It wasn't caked in his glove or anything like that. But I mean, given the Yankees' reputation, I can't blame him for not for being on edge. Like he saw Michael Pineda, I'm sure, put an entire
Oh my God, that was back before 2018, which you just told me was too long ago.
I didn't say anything about it being too long. I said Red Sox already got caught for it. But this is what the Yankees do. It's Michael Pineda. He had a whole eye black container full of pine tar right down his neck. It clashed with it completely clashed with his skin. I don't know why he thought he would ever get away with it. And it's in the Hall of Fame of stupid cheating offenses. But anyway, I don't think the German thing is that big a deal. If the umps tell you to wash your hands, wash your hands. But I'm not surprised that he washed his hands and then just put more of the stuff on because he was pitching a good game. Why would he mess with that?
The real issue here is that Major League Baseball, and you're right, this is an issue with the umpires, that Major League Baseball always, they're just a little favorable towards the Yankees, right? Last year, Aaron Judge hits out 5 juice balls for home runs. Okay. Most of the juice balls found last year were at Yankee Stadium in September as he's chasing history, right? The Yankees always get just that little bit of an advantage.
Well, whatever. We haven't won the World Series in however long, so whatever. Just give us this home run record. Give us this cheating, whatever.
Home run record.
Yeah.
And while we're on this, because we may never talk about him again, Michael Pineda was an idiot. I don't defend him.
Yeah, nobody can defend that one.
Whatever your stance is, let us know. You can tweet at us at Bleacher Brawl on Twitter. You can find our personals. If you take arms with John or Luke or Pat or myself, you'll find our Twitters below. But for the record, Domingo German was pitching a great game, 6 1/3, 11 strikeouts. The Twins just couldn't hit anything. Garrett Cole pitched against him. He struck out 10 batters. I think the Twins just couldn't hit anything in the last 2 games of that series.
And nobody was cheating in the 2018 postseason because nobody was allowed in any video rooms during the 2018 postseason. So
just covering it up.
11-3 in the postseason that year.
Oh,
totally legit. Brock Holt cycle.
How Major League Baseball always covers up for the Red Sox. You have all these, every time these guys get popped, every guy that gets popped for steroids, he did steroids with Ortiz. Maybe not. Oh, let's cover for the Red Sox because they cheated in 2018. Cover for the Patriots too while we're at it.
A utility player hit a cycle in the playoffs. Totally legit.
Oh my days. Anyway, we're moving on from the Domingo German situation. Here we go. We got our new segment today. It's called Trending or Ending. I'm going to provide the guys with a prompt. that they have no idea. They even Pat asked for, he's like, can we get the prompts beforehand? And I said no, because I just wanted to try it and I wanted to see how they would kind of react and how it would go without them knowing anything.
That would be cheating.
It would be cheating. That
Knowing what pitch was coming is cheating.
Listen, we have high integrity here, despite what John may think about Luke.
Despite being Yankee fans, we have high integrity.
Yeah, sure. Listen, you know what? You're not allowed to answer.
Remember when A-Rod got suspended for the whole season? Anyway, go ahead.
That was perfect, though. It was Jeter's last season. He didn't have to deal with A-Rod. Like, if the Yankees were pressuring Major League Baseball to force that suspension through, it worked perfectly. Like, that couldn't have worked out better. So, yes, I was all in favor of that. And then you had respect for Derek Jeter with the 2 as the S. The next year with Alex, you had forgive with the 1 and the 3 as the I and E. And you guys don't care about that, but it means something as a Yankees fan.
Oh, my goodness gracious. So, here we go. First trending or ending bit is we've played 16 games in the regular season so far. The Red Sox record is 8-8 in 2023. The Yankees are 10-6. The Red Sox in 2022 were 7-9, so they're doing 1 game better than they were last year. And the Yankees were also 10-6 after 16 games in 2022. The prompt is, will your team, Red Sox or Yankees, finish better than they did last year at the end of April, which would be 29 games? For the record, in 2022, after 29 games, the Red Sox were 10-19, and the Yankees were 21-8. So I want to know, will your team start to trend toward that, or is it going to end and you're going to do better or worse than that? So I will start with Luke.
Ending. The Red Sox are definitely going to do better than that. That was a total nightmare. They had a horrible bullpen, and they had a lot of injuries. And then later on in the season, about halfway through the season, everybody started coming back from the injuries, and then everybody got hurt again. Even more new people got hurt. So that's not going to happen again this year. That's definitely ending.
Hey, be careful with the injury stuff. We've already seen John place a curse, maybe even a second curse on the podcast. Patrick, trending or ending Red Sox, or how are they going to fare after 29 games here?
Because you wouldn't explain the game to me earlier, I don't understand. Is trending that they're going to do better, or ending that they're going to do better than last year?
I said that, are they going to trend and do the same thing? Like, are they going to finish 10-19, or are they going to end and they're going to end it?
They're going to end being bad?
Yeah. Are they?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a gimme. Last year sucked. Always. We had like 2 weeks of hope. But in general, it was terrible. And this is a better team this year, and a team with a higher ceiling. And what are they, like 3 wins away from ending? So yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Once again, maybe an early curse here. John, are the Yankees going to trend toward that 21-8 record from 2022, or is it going to end and they're going to, kind of fall off and end up worse than that? They are 10-6 like they were at this point last year.
Yeah, that's ending. I don't see them going 11-2 over these next couple games. They got the Angels coming up at home. Sure, they could sweep that in a best case scenario, but then you're playing Toronto, Minnesota again, Texas. They ain't going 11-2. So ending.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'll probably end, especially the way that the pitching is going. Both these teams have a bunch of good games coming up. The Red Sox have 3 games with the Twins, 3 games in Milwaukee, 3 games in Baltimore, and then 3 games against the Guardians. All those teams are really good. Obviously I think that the Red Sox could probably win 3 games, but they could not. Obviously, the Yankees could win, 11 games, but probably not. The Angels are good. The Blue Jays are really good. The Twins are good. We've already seen that. And then the Rangers have been kicking butt over in the West. This one is for John. This one is for John. And then if the Red Sox guys want to tag in as well, feel free. But this is about Gleyber Torres. On the Yankee show during the week and leading up into this season, Cassim has been saying that, hey, Gleyber Torres is going to go back to 2019 form. In 2019, and now we're tracking 16 games. 2022 or 2019, he had a 290 average. Right now, Gleyber's at 286. Gleyber's got 14 hits this year. 2019, he had 18 hits. Is Gleyber trending towards 2019 form, or is it going to end and he's just going to kind of be same Gleyber we saw last year?
Well, with those numbers, I say trending because I think he can keep up the batting average. As long as we're not bringing power numbers of 2019 into it, then I would say trending.
Yeah, in 2019, he had 4 home runs. At this point, he had a 2 home run game, which obviously helps anyone. Gleyber Torres has 2 home runs right now. Any of the Red Sox guys, do you think Gleyber Torres is going to trend towards that 2019 form, or is he just going to be regular old Gleyber?
I think that, he had like 40 home runs that year, didn't he? So I don't think he's gonna, I think that's ending. I don't think he's gonna hit. I don't think he's gonna be that kind of producer. He might hit 300, 310 if he keeps up at this pace. He might, which I think arguably could make him be a better player. I mean, personally, I'd take a guy who can hit 315 and hit 25 home runs than a guy who hit like 270 and hit 40 home runs. So I think that's ending, but it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Pat, do you care to weigh in on Gleyber Torres?
Sarcasm, definitely ending. That's not who Gleyber is. Gleyber, how is it that you put it, Cassim? He blows. Gleyber blows. Also, sarcasm, your Knicks are ending. They're losing to the Cavs in this series.
Does Cassim say Gleyber blows?
No, he likes Gleyber.
Okay. Okay. I was confused there.
No.
I thought you were quoting him saying Gleyber blows.
No, I'm quoting him talking about Joey Bart.
I'm quoting him talking about everybody except 4 players on the Yankees.
Exactly.
Pretty much. That's how it feels sometimes. But anyway, moving on. Next one and last one for today in this first ever appearance of Trending or Ending is this one's Red Sox based. This guy has been pretty good for the Red Sox. He might arguably be the best pitcher yet again for the Red Sox. Nick Pivetta. All right. And, it's weird. Luke's champion last year in 2022 in April, he had 4 starts, in that month. He had 16 and a third innings. He he had 19 hits. He had 15 earned runs, and he had 16 strikeouts in that month. He also walked 13 batters. However, in 2023, he's pitched 3 games so far, 14 innings, has allowed 11 hits, allowed 7 earned runs, so that's better. He's only walked 8 batters, and he struck out 16 batters, the same as he did after 4 starts in 2022. Is Nick Pivetta going to trend to being Luke's ace again, or is that going to end and, Pivetta's just going to kind of be a schlub again? Pat, I'll let you go first, and I'll let Luke really stew and think about it.
I don't think Pivetta is trending or ending. I think that this is Pivetta to a T. I mean, he's going to pitch a couple gems. He's going to give up a grand slam in the first inning to Gio Urshela against the Angels. And it's going to even out to like a 4-something ERA, some great games, some crappy games, some heroic efforts, some garbage where we've pretty much lost the game immediately. We happened to come back and win yesterday, but Pivetta looked down in the dumps for the rest of that one. I think he's a great pitcher when he's on. Boy, oh boy, is he a terrible pitcher when he's not. And I think it just evens out to being an average pitcher, unfortunately.
Luke?
This one's actually both trending and ending because he will pitch really bad for a month or 2, and then he will pitch great for a month or 2. And you never know when it's really going to start. You usually know what you're going to get from him, because if he does really well, you can bank on him doing really well for the next start, anywhere from the next 1 start to the next 5 starts. But once he has a bad one, then he's going to have the next 8 starts are probably going to be bad. So he's as streaky as it gets. He's the Kike Hernandez of starting pitchers, you could say. Hoping that'll change. He's getting more mature, but until he stops, he's just too much of a head case. He's just always yelling. He's always like on the bench. He's like punching the bench just for no reason at all, not out of anger or whatever, just out of misplaced like inertia. Like he doesn't know what to do with all this energy that he has. Horrible traits for a starting pitcher, by the way. So until he sees a psychologist, gets his emotions under control some way, he's always going to be that up and down guy. Love to see him when he's doing well. But John, I don't know if you knew that happened before Pat said it, but yeah, Gio Urshela hitting a grand slam against the Red Sox. You're your third baseman.
Let me tell you something about Nick Pivetta. He blows.
My man.
Yeah, good for Gio. He should still be a Yankee. It was so nice of Brian Cashman to take that Josh Donaldson contract so the Twins could sign Carlos Correa.
That's the worst. I know John's he's gonna say that this is ending. Pavetta's gonna be a piece of crap. So Luke, you kind of just said like, he can pitch for a month pretty good, and then once he pitches a bad one, it's gonna be bad. Like, so 3 pretty good games. Do you think the shoe's gonna drop soon for Pivetta? Like,
yeah, I think it just did. He had a bunch of walks Saturday.
It's over now.
And that's the calling card for when his bad stretch begins. He can't locate his curveball, which when he's on, he can drop it on a dime, and his fastball, he can get it like just a reticle above the top strike zone to finish guys off. When he's on, that's what he's doing. When he's off, that curveball's going in the dirt. And then the next time it's almost hitting the batter in the neck. And that fastball is either going over the catcher's head or it's going right over the middle of the plate. So, ask Matt Carpenter about Nick Pivetta when he's off.
So there you go, folks. Pavetta's starting his downward spiral. I'm sure Joey will have something to say about it on the Red Sox episode, because Joey has something to say about everything, because that's who Joey is. But that will wrap up the new segment for this week, Trending or Ending. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you listeners liked it. If you have something that you want to hear us hear our opinions on, if it's trending or ending, let us know. Tweet at us. Send us an email somewhere at bleacherbrawls@gmail.com. We love to read those. And here we go. Let's wrap it up for the last segment tonight. We got Cuddle Marry Trash. It's like that game you play with your friends when you're talking about people. But we gave it a PG name for the air. So John, I'm going to start with you today for this one. It's about the Yankees power bats. Judge obviously is the reigning AL MVP. He seems to be the one-man show that everyone always says, like, if it wasn't for Judge, the Yankees wouldn't have done anything. Just like how they wouldn't have gotten to the playoffs last year if they didn't have him. Just like how Shohei Ohtani did not lead his team to the playoffs last year. But anyway, who's of these 3 players? Cuddle, Marry, Trash. Obviously, Marry is you think that they're going to be the best. Cuddle is like whatever, probably somewhere in the middle, and then Trash, you think they're going to not be that. Who's really going to be 16 games in? We've kind of seen it. Who's going to be the Robin to Judge's Batman? We've got Rizzo, Stanton, and Glaber.
All right, that's a good question.
Stanton has actually just gone on the IL for a little hamstring tightness, but we know Stanton, he, once he's there, he kind of gets there, kind of for all 3 of these guys.
Yeah, that is the problem, because you have Stanton who's on the IL. Is this the Yankees being cautious? Will he be back in 2 weeks? Or is this Stanton, he's out for the next 2 months? Then you have Anthony Rizzo, who really does play that Robin character pretty well. But again, You always have to wonder if his back's going to flare up. Now we have Gleyber Torres, who looks like this might be, sans the power 2019 Gleyber Torres, but is he really going to be that? We don't know anything. So this is a really good question, Barnes. It's making me think. And I'm just taking all the time I can because I don't know the answer. I would say I'll marry Gleyber because if he's the Robin to Judge's Batman, then the Yankees are going to have a fantastic season. Because if Gleyber's playing to his full potential, the Yankees and Judge is playing to his full potential, the Yankees are going to be on a tear. I'm going to cuddle Rizzo because he's still on the field right now. And Rizzo, as long as he stays healthy, is a really leader and a guy that can make a difference in that lineup. And I'm going to open the garbage can. I'm going to gently place Gleyber Torres in the trash can. It's freshly lined, new trash can, never had any garbage in it. So you're in the trash, but you could potentially come out of the trash, if you're back in a few weeks as opposed to back in a few months. So as much as I'm a Stanton supporter, he ends up in the trash respectfully and in a type of trash can where you can take him out again.
You mean Stanton? Because you just said Trash Torres.
Yeah.
Trash Stanton. Okay, yeah. So I said trash Torres, but I meant trash Stanton.
Oof. Yeah. I don't know how I think I'm marrying Gleyber, cuddling Rizzo, and trashing Stanton. That doesn't feel good though. Saying it that way, that doesn't feel good.
Stanton always feels good.
I know. You could ask John all about it on last week's episode of the Rivalry episode. So here we go. Similar question for the Red Sox guys. Luke's champion, Adam Duvall, touch 'em all Duvall, or something Luke was going to brag about saying. Right, Luke? Do you want to say it one time on the air just to get it out, practice it?
Touch 'em all Duvall. And that was, yes, on this show, every time we mentioned Duvall, I was going to say touch 'em. I was never going to say Duvall. I was never going to say Adam Duvall. I was going to say touch 'em all Duvall. Just look at John's face every time I said it. I was really looking forward to that.
Right. John Sterling right now is so mad. He's like, he stole that from me. If he ever played on the Yankees, that was my call.
Oh, my days. So obviously Devers is the guy. Touch 'em all Duvall is out with his wrists being hurt. Who's gonna step up and be the number 2 guy there? The guys I kind of Yoshida's coming back. Obviously he was a big signing, and we all think he'll be pretty good, especially after what we saw in the WBC. Justin Turner, and then a young man. I originally had Tristan Casas, but do you want me to change it to anyone else? Because I feel like he's the guy who should fill that role. So I have Yoshida, Casas, and Turner. Cuddle Marry Trash is who's going to be the next Robin to Devers' Batman.
That's appropriate. I think those 3 are good. All right. Okay, so I am going to cuddle Yoshida because I think he'll have a good year, but I think he's still got to adjust to the major league pitching. He'll have a high OBP, but not necessarily he might only hit 260, 270, maybe 15, 20 home runs. But he'll be there. He'll be contributing all year. And so I will marry Turner because I think he is going to, I just think he has so much experience and he just knows how to handle himself over a season. He's streaky. He just hit his first home run today, the Justin Turner overdrive. So I think he's going to start on his first hot streak of the year now. And I just think he just that, carrying with him that mentality that he has, that steady mentality, and that he's going to help. He's going to be in the lineup. He's going to be DHing. So he's going to be in the lineup every day. He had a really good second half from June on last year. He was great. So yeah, I'm gonna marry Turner. I think he's gonna be a steady presence all year. That's gonna surprise a lot of Red Sox fans. And then Trash Casas, but I do think he's going to be good. But clearly he's still adjusting. He's still trying to. He's still a little too. I think he's a little too focused on trying to draw walks right now, as opposed to just seeing the ball and hitting the ball. But I think all three are going to have good years. But yeah, Cuddle Yoshida, Mary Turner, Trash Casas.
Pat.
I'm gonna right now. Okay, Sunday, April 16th.
You're locked in. Whatever you say, you're locked in for the season.
No, I'm talking about April. I'm trashing Turner. Turner has been, I know it's early. All right, 8-8, blah, blah, blah. Turner's been a black hole recently. And aside from a home run today, has not been the guy I want hitting behind Rafi, has not been the guy I want batting in the 2-hole when they've been moving things around for lefties. He's had 10 days of lefties and he's still hitting like a $180 or whatever. I love the guy on paper for all the reasons you said. Look, I think he's going to be a great presence. I'd choose him over pissed off JD Martinez any day. But as of right now, he's just soul sucking, and I wish he would get the day off. I'm gonna cuddle Casas. I totally agree. He's way too worried about drawing walks. I think he knows that that's a skill of his and wants to do the thing that he's good at, but if he barrels something up, it's out of here. And we need that right now. He's got 9 out of 10, I think they said, coming up, righty starting pitchers after these terrible 2 weeks of lefties. So he should bump up in the order a little bit. He needs to make contact and get some ribbies. And then I'm gonna marry Yoshida, DHing today, back tomorrow in left field. This guy's a killer baseball player. If it wasn't for the greatest player to ever play the sport of baseball being on his team, he would have been the WBC MVP. He can do it in high pressure situations. He can do it against major league talent. I'm not worried about, him facing some crappy dude on the Cincinnati Reds. I'm just not worried about it at all. This he needs to see major league pitching stuff. I don't believe it. I agree that, he's going to have better seasons than this one, 2-3 years in this deal probably. But right now, I sit up a little bit every time he comes up to the plate, and I've missed him over the past couple of days.
I got to take issue with something you said, Pat. Turner's hitting 255 with a 382 on base percentage right now. So he's not hitting like a number 3 hitter. He shouldn't be a number 3 hitter.
I think
the number 3 hitter should be.
Go ahead.
The number 3 hitter should be Rafael Devers. Turner should be batting second. But that's a whole
You're right.
MLB wide philosophy issue I have.
I think that was his batting average like 2 days ago, but because it's been so early, he was hot for like 2 days and it just like jumps up 40 points, just mathematically. But I mean, for a long time has been a ground ball, just dead zone.
What sorry to sidetrack really quick. What happened to Glaber today? Because I heard there was a scary moment there where people thought he might have been hurt, but I didn't see any of it. What happened with Glaber today?
I honestly did miss whatever that was. I had a screaming baby, so I was in and out. I did see LeMahieu's home run, but there were times where I was just walking around my backyard, so I don't know what happened actually.
Here it is, Luke, to go back to the Turner thing. Over his last 7 games, he's hitting 346. So he has lit up a little bit. To this season, up until that point, was 255.
So he's robbing right now.
Yeah, it was a bad week and then a great week, but it's been, I don't know. It should have been his time, I feel like, during the lefties. And he's only really taking advantage of that during the Angel series when he got moved around in the order, when he's been hitting second instead of third.
Devers hitting third.
Fourth.
He's hitting fourth. That's right. Old school.
Yep. Fourth.
If I were to do this out of this fruitful farm system that Heim Bloom has produced, I would cuddle Bobby Dahlback, crash Cheater Downs, and I would definitely marry Franchi Cordero. All those guys are still in the Red Sox.
So
right?
2 of those guys were Dombrowski guys, but yeah, go ahead.
I was
No,
I
it's
gotta-
Downs and Cordero are both.
Oh, Downs, you're right.
I
You're right.
believe.
You're right. You're right. All right.
I got to apologize for
Yeah, I know
something
Bobby Dahlbeck was Dombrowski, but I couldn't think of anyone else in the moment.
I got to apologize for something I said Friday. I went on a bit of a rant about Bobby Dahlbeck. I have to apologize. I was way too easy on him with the stuff I was saying about him. I really should have laid into him. I kind of turtled and I kind of backed off a little bit. So I'm sorry to all our listeners that may have been disappointed by that.
So we'll stick with the Red Sox guys here for a second. Luke mentioned it earlier. I think Pat did too. Brayan Bello is coming back. He's facing Shohei Ohtani on Marathon Monday. When you're listening to this, hopefully you're listening to this before the game. And Garrett Whitlock has come back. He pitched a great game on Sunday, the 16th. Right, he pitched a pretty darn good game, I heard, and kind of saw and kind of bet on. So. Hey, I actually bet on the Red Sox to win today, so I got some good odds on that. But anyway, with those two guys coming back to the lineup, it feels like some pieces got to get shuffled around. I feel like Luke has kind of made it clear where he wants this one guy to go. I always feel like this one fella always kind of belonged in the bullpen, and this guy always slides up and down. But who do you want to stick around in the starting rotation if possible between these three names? Corey Kluber, Tanner Houck, Cutter Crawford. Pat, I'll start with you.
Oh, wow. I've been saying for years that Houck should be in the bullpen. He's got 2 pitches and he can't see the lineup through more than twice. He's not a starter. He's got the stamina for it. He doesn't slow down at all throughout the game, but guys figure him out by the time they go the third time through. And so he has to get yanked, and he pitches 4 2/3. And our bullpen has pitched the second most innings in the league right now, only behind the Athletics. So he's just not a starter. I've never thought that. I liked him as the closer. Obviously would take Kenley Jansen any day. But I liked that spot for him last year. I think that's where he should be. It's Kluber and Crawford.
Yep.
Oh my God. All right. I'm going to cuddle Crawford because I like him as a long inning guy if injuries require him to be in the big league club, or a AAA depth piece guy right now. I want him pitching 6 innings every 5 days, or 3-4 every 3-4 days, depending on what ball club he's playing for. I guess that means I'm going to marry Corey Kluber. I'm not crazy about it. It's been a rough couple starts. I know he's not the same guy he used to be, but that's a tough one. I'm going to marry him, but it's going to be like, we like sleep in separate beds and stuff.
Luke.
Like Warden June Cleaver. I'm going to marry Cutter Crawford. I do. He was a rookie last year. He's still getting his feet under him in the major leagues. He had a really bad start in his first start of the season against the Pirates, but I think he's going to be not a great starting pitcher. That you never know at this age, at this stage in his career. I think he's going to be a decent middle of the rotation or back end starter in the major leagues. I think he'll have a career in the major leagues. So I'll definitely marry him. Cuddle Houck for the same reasons Pat said. Guy is a fantastic guy to have at the back of your bullpen especially when there's a few righties due up. But as a starter, if you need an arm in the starting rotation, if you got a lineup coming up that's the anti-Red Sox, that is, well, the Yankees, for instance, it's loaded with righties with barely anybody left-handed that can even swing the bat, then yeah, he can definitely go. If he goes through the lineup 2 times, that's 5 innings. That's 5, maybe 6 innings if he's really on. So, that's worth a cuddle. I'll cuddle you, Tanner. And Trash Kluber. I don't want to mess around with this guy as a starting pitcher anymore. He's 37. He's pitched 1 full season since 2018. It was last season. So it's just a long injury, just feels right around the corner for him. I think he can get anybody out for 2 innings. So in a back end bullpen role, pitch in the 7th inning or in a mop-up role, when you need someone to eat innings, sure, he could do that. He shouldn't be a starting pitcher at age 37 in the major leagues. Mary Crawford, Cuddle Hauk, Trash Kluber.
I think we get too caught up in like Kluber being the number one in this rotation. It's already gotten readjusted to the point where he's behind Sale. And I feel like I don't mind him at all every 5 days if he were ideally the number 5 guy. I don't mind him even a little bit. I think we've just got way too caught up on he's the number 1 guy because he started opening day. It's the same amount of starts, and if it's more favorable matchups, that's fine with me. Number 5 guy wouldn't complain even a little bit.
I never thought of him as the number 1 guy just because he was starting opening day. But yeah, I don't even like it. I feel like it's just you're just penciling in your bullpen for 6 innings when he's starting for at least 5 innings.
That was why they put.
Innings.
That was why Nick was all pissed off that he was in the 5 hole. So were we for a little while, but apparently that's why they put Nick in that 5 spot, because they wanted him the day in front of Kluber, because they knew that Nick would go deep into the game and wouldn't have to use the bullpen. They could save the bullpen for Kluber's days.
That makes a little more sense. I never heard that.
Yeah, it's kind of like what John and I were talking about on the Yankees episode about why they kind of slid Clark Schmidt behind Garrett Cole, but in between him and Nestor, because that way Cole could give the relief pitchers in the bullpen some rest. But the day before, they're going to have to go up and help out their buddy Clark Schmidt, who should also be in the bullpen. But here we go. Last one. And this is about our crew, our other 3 friends that aren't here today. Is you get to take them on in a brawl of your choice. Cuddle, Marry, Trash. Who do you want to take on in a brawl? Derek, Joey, or Cassim? And this is like, Mary is, I want to brawl with them ASAP. Trash is, whatever. We'll get to it when we get to it. John, let's start with you.
All right. I guess I'll have to marry Cassim because we both love the Yankees, but we have some very, very, very different takes. So one day me and him are gonna have to brawl on something. This is a tough one from here on out. Because like Derek will throw a billion stats at you that you'll be like, well, and you won't have a response to any of those stats. Like you won't have stats to go against what he throws at you. So that would be tough. But Joey, I feel like would verbally assassinate me. So, like, which do I want to put up with? All right, well, I'm trashing Joey. I feel like he could potentially humiliate me. He's really funny and clever. And Derek, I'll just have to figure out how to combat the stats that he's going to throw at me that I won't have the appropriate stats to back up against. So, marry Cassim because it's got to happen. I think it'd be good for everybody to listen to. Cuddle, Derek, and Trash Joey.
Cassim, John, and you are going to brawl on a Yankees topic coming soon. Make sure you hear it. We'll post about it when it goes up. Luke, who do you want to brawl? Derek, Joey, Cassim.
I'm gonna marry Joey actually, because when you're at the top of the world at something, the way I am, you want to go toe to toe with the best. You want to compete with the best competition there is. You want to slug it out with somebody who can bring it on equal footing to you. Joey can show up with unprepared, no notes or whatever, hasn't watched a game in 3 weeks, and he'll still bob and weave enough to make the listeners think like, yeah, he made some pretty good points there. That's he might have won that. I'll cuddle Cassim because I feel like to any objective observer, they're gonna say, all right, well, this guy didn't. One guy showed up kind of prepared, and the other guy just sat down in front of the computer and was like, huh? What are you talking about? No. This guy blows. And the guy I'm supporting, the side I'm supporting, he's really, this is right. But Cassim is very, he's very passionate about his opinion. So he can make a good argument. But he's not going to back it up with all that much. So I feel like I can, with a little preparation, I can take down Cassim. And I'll trash Derek because, like John said, he'll just load up with statistics that he'll throw at you, and you can look at statistics any way you really want to. If you try, you can put some, you can look at, there's so many statistics available. You can just zone in on a certain set of statistics that fit your angle, and you can just zero in on that and focus on that and make a pretty good argument. So I don't really want any part of that.
So the Merchant of Lies is taking on the young buck. So Joey, you got a brawl. You got a date with Destiny and Luke. So hopefully, Red Sox fans, you get to hear that brawl coming out soon. Hopefully, we get it recorded, and let us know who you think will win, the Merchant of Lies or the young stud. Patrick, who do you want to
So
brawl?
how are you gonna? So you're already slanting the jury there. You're saying one guy's the Merchant of Lies and one guy's the young stud. That's not fair. This is This is a totally partial jury now.
Listen, I am a Yankees fan. I am apparently a cheater. But we're moving on. Patrick, who do you want to brawl? Joey, Derek, Cassim.
I'm tempted to say trash Derek because not at all what these guys said, but because Derek and I tend to agree often. I don't know what we would have to really brawl about. I feel like we're a better team than antagonists. We're the Bleacher Bums. We got a Bleacher Bums piece coming out in a couple of weeks. But what I'm gonna really say is I'm gonna marry all of them. It's sister wives action. I'll marry them all. I'll take on anybody. I'm not scared. And this show's running long, so I'm going to stop talking now.
Grandpa's got to go to sleep, but he'll take on all those guys in a 3-on-1 brawl. Hopefully we get that coming out to you, and you can let us know who you think is going to win that, Patrick versus the world. As for me, give me Joey. Just because I want to slam that young man down to earth. Just take him down a few pegs. That's it. That's really it. Cassim, we agree on a lot of things, so I'd probably have to trash Cassim because we're a great team. And then I'll cuddle Derek because he seems like a teddy bear. I think I could take him. I think it'd be a pretty good brawl. Nothing special. Not like the fireworks show with the young stud who's going to take down the Merchant of Lies. Anyway, as Patrick said, yeah. So what do you mean? We're at the end of the episode. Quick final thought for the listeners at home. Luke.
I want to know, Barnes, do you ever hedge your emotions when you're gambling? Like, say the Red Sox will be playing the Yankees. Will you bet on the Red Sox so that if the Yankees lose, at least you have on the bright side, you won some money? I have friends who have done that a lot of times in the past, and I think it's an interesting strategy.
No, I usually just stay away from those games. As Admiral Akbar would say, it's a trap. Patrick, final thoughts.
Yeah, two real quick. One is I feel like the Barnes Derek brawl would be like the undercard of the title match of the Merchant of Lies and the young stud. And also today, when you're listening to this on Patriots Day, Marathon Monday, my piece 10 years later, Boston Strong, Fear the Beard, and This Is Our City will be on bleacherbrawls.com. I talked about it a little bit earlier. I didn't need to talk about it anymore, but it'll be definitely it's the day to read it.
And John, final thoughts for the listeners at home.
Not like anyone really probably cares that much, but Luke was talking a lot of trash this morning about how he had 3 aces going today and he was going to beat me in fantasy baseball, even though I was destroying him. And I did win the week by 150 points. And one of his aces, unfortunately, got the game postponed, but the other two, McClanahan and Cease, 37 points between the two of them. And I alone had Luis Castillo, who put up 39 by himself. So I curb stomped Luke in fantasy this week, much like I did in fantasy football, but that means he'll win the championship and I'll lose.
Yeah, is that why I won the championship? Because you stomped me?
Because I stomped you and I gave you life and a reason to live.
And just like John stomped out Luke, I'm stomping out the show. Make sure you check us out everywhere, bleacherbrawl.com. You can follow us on Twitter if you're watching us on YouTube. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. All those good things. Leave us a 5-star review. Hit us in the comments below. We'll always try to get back to you as soon as we can. Other than that, peace out.
All right, folks, that's the latest episode of Bleacher Brawls. Thanks for tuning in, for rating us 5 stars, and leaving us a nice review. And don't forget to check us out on bleacherbrawls.com, on YouTube, and on Twitter.
No, you don't have control over it. You're like Jean Grey. Like you could make it happen really good for you, or you could just destroy everything.
Yeah, but Jean Grey was hot.